It seems inevitable to me that autonomy is about to become the new normal way of travel, as I keep being reminded by my American friends who practically no longer drive their Teslas, as they succumb to the pleasures of their ghostly chauffeurs driving them around, also known as Tesla's FSD. We don't know the exact timeline as to how quickly this will shift, but Tesla's focus on autonomy, robotaxis and cybercabs does half give us some clues about what to expect the future transport landscape to look like, let alone Elon's slightly cryptic messages on X as to whether certain Teslas will even be available in America. I'll get to that later. Tesla's pivot from once aiming to produce 20 million vehicles a year by 2030 to recognising that fully autonomous vehicles are the future. Not only that, but Optimus robots running on similar full self-walking software as their car cousins. That's not only far greater financial opportunity for Tesla to dominate autonomy and robots, but also the most beneficial to mankind, solving just the labour market with bots and traffic accidents, fatalities and the obscene costs of car ownership. But let's put aside the details of mass cybercab production, regulations catching up to allow countries to implement autonomous cars on their roads, and look at the emotional attachment to cars, because that to me seems to be the challenge that a lot of people are and will continue to struggle with, and I include myself there as a fan of being in control and occasionally driving for pleasure. But I want to share two fascinating clips taken from a couple of recent interviews. Here's what Zach and Jesse of the Now You Know channel had to say regarding letting go of car ownership. How do you think Tesla's full self-driving progress will shape the future of transportation?
It's going to happen faster, I think, than anyone can imagine, because no one really wants to own a car. We've been told we want a car.
And you've been brainwashed.
And we've been brainwashed, so we're like, I want a car. But we don't.
And we've all been hostages to our cars the entire time. So yeah, you've been held at gunpoint this whole time, going like, I love having my car. I got a car and it's red, and that's, ooh, I've always wanted a red car because I watched that movie with the guy and he drove a red car, right? We've always been thinking about it in every commercial, every movie, everything. The car is you. That's the level that we're at. But once people realize that they don't want to pay for insurance and fuel and where to park it, and it got a scratch and now I have to deal with that, and the oil changes and the this and the tires and the windshield wiper fluid, all of it.
What you loved about your car was the freedom. This is even more freeing. And it's going to change society because we've dedicated so many resources to where you put your car for 95% of the day when you don't use it. We now actually don't get that space, right? So we don't get the park, we don't get the whatever else you want in your city because the cars have to have that space.
Right. And if you want to drive into the city, well, now it's going to cost you $60 to park.
It's going to change how we live, because now if you live, let's say, outside a city, instead of being like, I never go to the city because it's a pain in the neck, you'll go to the city for a play or something.
There's going to be a million things that happen.
It's just, and it's going to free up so much money. We don't realize how much money collectively we put into our cars, or individually, that's going to free up. So there's just no economic incentive not to do it. And we're already seeing it. You see it in cities like San Francisco, where Uber comes in and 10% of the people just stop owning cars. And that's not even a great system. But when this happens for real, and it's as cheap as it is, and it works as well, everyone's going to give up their car practically.
Right.
It's like when we went from the horse to the car. Everything changed in society, and it's the same kind of thing. Everything's going to change, and the things that are going to change just don't seem even possible when you own a horse.
But what about letting go of that emotional attachment that people have with their cars? Farzad puts it like this.
Yeah, car ownership in the United States is very much, it feels like a right. It feels like, you're not an American unless you have two cars in your driveway at least. You're not an American if you don't have a car in your driveway that you might use sometimes, or you're not an American if you don't have a pickup truck that you're never going to use the bed for. It's very American, and the reason why is because there's so many miles in between things. Okay, what the Cybercab Robotaxi network does with Tesla is that you get premier level comfort, convenience at a lower cost than the Uber X, than the cheaper tier. Right? This is what people don't understand. When you are getting picked up by a Cybercab or a Tesla or whatever, where you are the only person in there, and the quality of the interior is Model 3 or better, you will automatically have a luxurious experience. And then because you don't have the driver, and because the Tesla vehicle is going to be so cheap to manufacture, especially in comparison to, say, a Waymo or a car with a driver in it, all of a sudden you've broken the equation of getting from point A to point B.
Zach and Jesse challenging the myth of car ownership, while Farzad reflects on the American dream of car ownership. Both, of course, fully on board with Tesla's inevitable autonomous future. So where do you stand on this? So I find both these arguments fascinating and great thought experiments. Does car ownership truly provide the freedom we've been led to believe it offers? Or might hiring the service of a robo-taxi or even owning a fully autonomous car be far more pleasurable, let alone a more productive, efficient use of your time? It seems likely to me that autonomous cars will be adopted very quickly for those who haven't started driving yet. The children of today, as they grow up blissfully unaware of what it's like to throw money down the oily drain of driving lessons, tax, insurance, maintenance, servicing, MOTs, speeding tickets, fueling, crashing, repairing, parking issues or car park challenges. Or all the evidence suggests that you'll soon be able to summon a robotaxi to your door from your phone for a fraction of the cost of today's taxis. Your own personal space with entertainment and what will become statistically a far safer means of travel than anything else. Why go through the rigmarole of passing your driving test if robotaxis become ubiquitous? There is no good reason. And again, perhaps you'd like to own your own Cybercab, so it's always sat there waiting for you on your driveway, something which Tesla says you will be able to purchase. But might as well let it go out to work when you're not using it. That way it'll pay for itself and provide passive income too. There will be, of course, many progressive people who will embrace autonomy, see its benefits straight away, and willingly abandon driving without a second thought. My wife, for example, who I asked just yesterday, when Big Bruce becomes fully autonomous, would you ever want to drive again? Her response? Absolutely not. This might well be many people's desire. They just don't know it yet because they haven't experienced it. What about Tesla fans and driving enthusiasts? Does it come easy to you to imagine letting go of controls for good? Graham, a Patreon supporter, loves driving his Tesla but sees FSD's dominance coming. Though he's not ready to give up the wheel. He writes, Tesla are always ahead of time and ahead of people's minds and the inevitable disruption that autonomy brings. If Tesla stops selling drivable EVs and goes all in on autonomy, expect a deluge of backlash, the likes of which we've never seen. Personally, I want FSD in my car, but I want to drive it too. But for a lot of journeys, I'd choose FSD. I love driving and find it calming, provided it's not my commute. I don't want to give up that passion. My next Tesla could be my last, which is a great shame, unless Tesla pulls that rug sooner. Graham and others see it clearly. Tesla's FSD is expanding, scaling rapidly across 14 countries, with robotaxi zones growing in Austin and San Francisco. I believe all Tesla vehicles are now driving off the production lines autonomously and parking themselves a couple of miles away. We've even seen the first autonomous delivery to one customer. As the only company with both cutting-edge autonomy and unmatched manufacturing scale, Tesla is poised to dominate robotaxi profits and autonomous vehicles. But Tesla knowing this inevitable future, and the general public and even Tesla fans struggling to come to terms with an autonomous-only future, it started to concern some folks. For example, this is the new Model Y L, a 6-seater version for the Chinese market, and everyone in Europe, America and elsewhere assumed it to be coming soon to their region. And Elon throws a massive damp cloth on people's dreams of owning one anytime soon by saying this variant of the Model Y doesn't start production in the US until the end of next year, might not ever, given the advent of self-driving in America. Look, anyone who's paid attention to anything Elon said over the past decade or two understands that Elon does see the future a little sooner than the rest of us, okay? You just wouldn't have got 500 plus self-landing rockets so far had Elon not have seen this vision before anyone else did. However, might this just be a statement he put out to stop the Osborne effect of losing current Model Y sales? Or does he mean it when he says might not ever be released given the advent of self-driving in America? But allow me to get back to my final point. What about the stubborn generation that will never give up their car keys? Those resistant to change and still clinging on to burning coal in their open fireplace, drive a diesel and very proud of it, listen to cassette tapes and only use cash. How will they ever adopt to this new autonomous future? Well, to put it bluntly, perhaps the natural cycle of human renewal will sweep away outdated ideas in due time. Everyone rode a horse until everybody didn't. And in the future, it might well be the case that everybody drove cars until everybody didn't. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one. Comment below however you feel. But for more context on my conversations with Zach and Jesse and Farzad, click one of these next. I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, patrons. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.